Hello, everybody. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Doing great, Jane. How are you?
Great. Well, we're going to talk because 'tis the season about the Christmas crash. Because and I know, that a lot of Americans, of course, use holiday cheer at parties and events and then drive. And of
Yes,
course, the statistics say that over 1,600 accidents happen between December 12th and December 31st on average. So that's a lot of tragedies that happen that don't need to. So I thought that maybe what we could do is, using your defensive driving advice, you could teach people how to avoid the Christmas crash. Sound good?
that sounds awesome.
All right. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to watch a video that you made recently about poor choices and judgment. Then we'll come back and I want you to talk to them about common causes for these crashes and maybe how to avoid the Christmas crash. Does that sound good?
Great.
Awesome.
Let's roll it.
All right.
I just ate lunch. Amazing thing just happened. I pulled out of my fortune cookie. Statistics are no substitute for judgment. Statistics are no substitute for judgment. We put too much emphasis on statistics, but guess what? Your judgment is everything when it comes to driving. So let's talk about impaired driving. There's a lot of different impairments. There's alcohol, there's drugs, there's prescription drugs. Anything you put in your body to distort your mind changes your judgment. So I'm going to tell you a little story. Actually, it's a big story about two teenagers that are at a party. One's 19, one's 18. All right, they are impaired and they have been doing some drugs, and they decide that the party's boring and they're going to go out and play mailbox golf. I don't know if you know what mailbox golf is, but it's when somebody hangs out the right side window, the driver drives close to a mailbox and they swing the bat at the mailbox and they crush it. They're destroying someone else's property, and that is a federal offense, and you go to prison for that. So not a good thing to do. So they're on their way out to hit a mailbox, 55 miles an hour, going down the street. Now, just think of the judgment there. An 18-year-old kid's hanging out a window with a baseball bat, allowing a drunk to hold onto the back of his pants so he doesn't fall out while he's driving a car. I don't get it. But anyway, he goes to hit the mailbox and his friend decides to put a little weave in the car. Well, he loses control of the car, goes shooting into a grove of trees, and the kid hanging out the window's head hits all over the trees, falls out of the car. He's at the bottom of a tree. The driver gets out of the car, goes over and looks at his friend, and of course he doesn't know what to do anymore because, again, his judgment is impaired, and what he should have done was called 911, but he doesn't call 911 because he's afraid of losing his license. Remember that, he's afraid of losing his license. Second person he should have called was his dad. Well, he doesn't want to call his dad because now his dad's going to kick his butt. He's going to take his car away. He's going to take his license away, what dad wouldn't. So let's call mom because she might not be as tough on him. Nope, we're not going to call mom. We're going to call his friends back at the party whose judgments are already impaired because they've been drinking and doing drugs. So anyway, they come and pick this unconscious kid up in a four-wheeler. They put him on the back of a four-wheeler. They strap him down like he's a dead deer. They take him back to the barn. They put him in the corner, and the party goes on. So a couple hours go by, and a kid looks over in the corner and sees this kid twitching. Well, what he's doing is he's dying. So he does call the ambulance. They take the kid to the hospital. He ends up dying. Everybody at that party is associated to this kid's death. Not only that, did this kid die, 18 years old, overdone because of his misjudgment in his impairment, and the 19-year-old gets 26 years in prison. Think about that. Think of you being 19 years old, and think of the story that just happened, and now you're going to spend 26 years in prison because of what? Because you were impaired, because you used poor judgment. Second thing is, would it have been better if one of them kids, somebody would have called a parent? I'm a parent of 3, and I would take a phone call from any one of my kids. I don't care what the situation is, because nobody thinks this stuff is going to happen to them. So use good judgment. Don't ever get behind the wheel when you're impaired, and you never want to be a rider when someone else is impaired.
Well, Mike, that's quite the story.
Yes, it is. And you know what? Our logo says it all. Drive safe, ride safe. People get bad judgments. People use poor judgment. People ride with people. It could be poor judgment. And most importantly, what we're going to talk about is you're the innocent one out there when these people are creating their poor judgment, and you happen to be in their way and not knowing how to deal with that. So again, remember those benefits to the right.
Right, and look out for those people, because if you're not the person impaired, you might be in their path.
You are always going to see a distracted, a drunk, a druggie, doesn't matter. They cannot go straight down the road. And if you have learned, which you should have through our courses, you should learn how to receive, how to see lane position cars coming at you. And when they're not in their lane position, you better be bracing for the crash. You better be figuring it out because your life depends on it.
So here's some common causes for the Christmas crash, Mike. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yep, so the first one says partying in the car, drinking and driving. So we're leaving the party, going to another party. It happens a lot. We have 4 parties to get to, honey. You know what? Well, let's take the old drink along with us because it's only 3 blocks around the corner, or it's only 2 miles down the road. But you know what? It's partying in the car. When people are together in the car, they're not looking at speedometers. They're not looking at driving down the road, keeping that steering wheel pointed down the middle. You know what? They're distracted. Driving after hours. Think about it. Christmas, you go on to a party, or Christmas is at home. Christmas Eve, you're at a party. Maybe New Year's Eve, you're at a party. And you don't leave that party till 3 a.m. And you're still going to drive home. Well, you're still probably impaired. If you haven't drank in all night, you still probably could be drowsy. So you know what? We need to watch for those people. Revving up the ruckus. And you know what? Just come on, we gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Speeding is a common thing. That's why a lot of drunks get caught by cops, is because they're too drunk to be smart. They're stupid. They go 20 miles over the speed limit while they're drunk. How dumb is that? Swills, pills, and pot. Impaired driving, same thing as the drinking that's going on. Oh, let's do a doobie on our way to the next one. Come on. You know, whatever. I don't know how to do it. I've never done it. But is that Santa up there? Distracted driver. We're looking at Santa. Oh, yeah, I think it is. Well, no, you've just had too much to drink. It's a star. And then I'm late for an appointment date, you know, and now I have to pass a car where I shouldn't pass, or pass a car on a curve or a hill, and you could be the one on the other side of the curve or the other hill coming up. So be ready.
Mike, also, obviously those are a lot of different things that people do in the car, and
Yes.
especially during the holidays. So let's talk a little bit how a person can avoid Christmas crashes. One, if you're the driver that's drinking, but also obviously people who are sober, how do they look out for these people?
You know what? In today's world, there is no excuse for anybody. All right. You can call Uber or Lyft. It's cheap. Oh my gosh. Think of it. You know what? A DWI will cost you over $20,000. Uber ride is going to cost you 15 to 25. Do the math. You're a genius. You know, call a sober friend, call a parent, call somebody. And then if you do call a friend, how do you know they are sober? Ask some questions. That should all be set up before you even go. Make sure the designated driver stays sober. And if you're not handcuffed to them all night long, you don't know how much they're drinking, what drugs they could be doing. You don't know. And then don't take chances just for fun. You know what? I mean, the holiday season is awesome for everybody, and it can just turn everybody's life into a disaster. You know, because people take chances. It's one person in the family, and it ruins the whole holiday seasons for years to come. So arrive alive, or it'll ruin your family holiday. You know, guys, when somebody gets killed during the holiday, it's remembered every holiday after this. So you know what? Be defensive, be smart, and don't drink and drive.